Look, I think being really focused and resilient is really important. I think, or I've seen the ones that are particularly successful are good at knowing what they are and aren't good at, and they fill those gaps. And whether that's with having the right people around them or employing someone, if you really want to drive success, sticking to what you're really good at and excelling in that and filling those gaps. So you're not trying to do everything for everyone. Makes life a lot easier and can be a really key underlying driver to their success. Getting into business isn't always easy. And even if you do have that great idea or you can really see an opportunity, there is likely to be a lot of hard work. So make sure you really have the resilience to see that through. And if you can, have a great team around you, so that you have got people you can go to that might not tell you what you want to hear, but will actually help you make the right decisions and help you move forward. Because it's not the easiest. Being a business owner is certainly not the easiest job you'll ever have. I think sometimes, especially if you're a smaller business, having someone or holding yourself to account, or having someone who can come in and hold you account is really beneficial, because it's really easy to get busy doing the do, and sometimes that's at the cost of you're working in the business, not on the business, and it also can mean that a lot of those great goals you've come up with early on in the design phase of your business don't get actioned, and it's not through any fault of your own. It's simply that you just haven't checked in and haven't kept them front of mind, and having those deadlines there or those time frames to make sure that you things do happen, because there will be a really good reason why you set them as goals, and it's just can really come at the detriment of the business when things just slip and don't happen. And quite often, in a small business, sometimes the urgent can take precedent over the important, and having those goals also just can help you focus on that. Market validation to me is where you de-risk your idea, whether it's a complete business concept or whether it's just purely a new product or service you're looking to launch. So for me, it can be that point where it might be a little bit of an investment in terms of time frame and also cash, but it can prevent a disaster of titanic proportions. So it is really easy, particularly if you've got friends who are really nice to you, for you to be in a place where you're hearing all the right things around your idea or your concept, and through good market validation you can really test that, and work with your target clients to really understand what they want. And I guess two parts that are quite often part of that is some market research, both quantitative and qualitative. So with the quantitative, you're getting those that are numerical data around, maybe it's the percentage of people that are likely to buy. It's quite often a good starting point to get some a bit of a feel, and then you can move into that qualitative space, and where you might find that through your quantitative research, you found a group of people that are really your sweet spot. They're happy to pay the price you're asking. They're going to be repeat purchases and quite likely quite loyal, and they really value you, and you might want to take that further with them, and then there's some businesses that would get them around for dinner in their premises, or do something with them, and then take those couple of hours to actually really tease out of them what they'll pay more for. Do they want if they're looking to buy shampoo, do they want a 500ml package, or will they pay quite a lot extra for a 750ml? So you can start to test out a lot of theories you might have, and quite often you don't get the exact answer you were expecting, and those aha moments can really drive a lot of value into what you're planning to do. And so really good process to go through if you've got quite a few things you're unsure of. One of the pioneers of that sort of concept was the Holiday Inn Group. So back in the 60s, they weren't sure what people would pay extra for in a hotel room, and so they got they got ideal clients through, people that are travelling a lot or have a lot of holidays, and actually got them to price what they'd pay extra for a room with a hairdryer in it, or what they'd pay extra for a room with with a really, really amazing mattress in it, and work through so they could really understand where those elasticities price were and where they could charge a premium. So it can be really insightful, and also not only can it take away a lot of risk in terms of launching something that there's just no demand for, it's not well positioned and packaged, but also can really unlock some aha moments where you can look at what people are going to pay a premium for, or things you may not have even considered that you can add in that are low cost to you but high value to your potential clients. We feel it's really important to have an authentic brand story that really resonates with your target market and is actually very authentic or honest about who you are and what the business is and what it aspires to be. It quite often is that point you keep coming back to whenever you're unsure of what you're looking to do, and it's a really good anchor to have, and well crafted. It's going to really resonate with your target audience, and help them really have that deep engagement with you to drive long-term growth. It's about getting the messaging right in the first place, and hopefully it's done really early on in the business life. You understand who your client is, what they look for, and then therefore you create that brand. But creating that loyalty, it in a lot of ways it should become a really embedded part of your business. It's something you're looking to do every day. Any messaging you do, keep it consistent, so you're building up your brand, you're investing in it, and it's also thinking about that experience, because your brand isn't just your logo and the logo elements and how your signage looks on your car or your door or your website. It's also about the experience people have, and that brand experience drives the loyalty as well too. So there's not a lot of point saying you're the best product in the world when someone comes through the door, yet you don't acknowledge them, you don't greet them, someone gives them a really grumpy response, you're not interested in providing any service. It's all going to fall over really quickly. So you do need to think through your whole business around what that brand experience is. How can we? And I'm really passionate about going from good to great. If people are spending money, they expect a good experience. So that's probably not good enough anymore. And so thinking around how you can go for great. Because when you get to great, that's when people become your raving fans, and they're going to share with maybe 10 or more people around this great experience that they've had, and they become your salespeople for you at very little cost. A little bit comes right back to the start, where you've got that, you know exactly who you want to sell to. You might have really divided up the marketplace into different segments, and example that comes to mind, pet food. So immediately it's like, well, what pet's it for? Are you looking at cats? Are you looking at dogs? Are you looking at others? And you might choose that, hey, look, a really big market, lots of dogs in New Zealand, lots of cats in New Zealand, even more overseas. So you might go, actually, we just want the domestic market because it's nice and easy. We don't have to worry about export compliance. And then you might go, well, actually, we really love dogs. So you start having that focus on dogs. And then from there, you've got decisions like, well, you're going to be a super premium or a premium or a cheap and cheerful. Where do you want to sit there? And then you've got more questions to answer. Are you going to have really great raw ingredients? Are you going to be a bit more mass produced? And so as you make those decisions, you're narrowing down your target market. And while there might be less people that you're going to be talking to as a result, it can actually be a really good thing, because you can have a really focused message and focus on those people and make sure that everything you do is really going to resonate with them. So when you start to think about what the brand needs to look like, if you're starting to make those decisions and you've got a really concise market that you're targeting to, and making sure that brand looks right, and is going to really resonate with them a lot easier. So if we become that super premium natural dog food that has really great nutritional in it, that's just targeted to dogs in New Zealand, you've now got a really great focus, so you can create that brand that is going to really target and really resonate with those purchases. So that's a good starting point for thinking around how you can stand out. Is really knowing who you want to stand out in front of is a really good place to start. And then obviously, to build on that, then you want to make sure it's really consistent. And we'd say there's always less is more. You don't want to try and overdo it. You just want a really good message and brand that's really nice and concise, but is everywhere and it looks really good. And that's where I think you really focus on driving your own business once you've got that brand that stands out, that really communicates with your target audience. And then it's just a case of reinforcing and making sure you stay consistent. Social media, really big growth. You're looking at on some platforms, billion plus users around the globe. It isn't amazing how quickly you can get an image or a short bit of text in front of people. I like talking about a marketing mix, because if you're completely reliant on one media, you are setting yourself up for not only some risk, but also probably missing out on some opportunity. So I like to think a bit more holistically rather than one particular solution, whether it's print, whether it's networking, whether it's social media. I always get a bit nervous when it's 100% on one particular media. I guess social media work really well as part of a marketing mix for a variety of businesses, but then others it won't be so relevant, but you may still want to have just a placeholder or a more minimal investment in that area. So it sort of comes back to that initial research, understanding who your client is and what they do and what channels you can use to reach them. With most of the digital platforms, Facebooks, the LinkedIns, the Instagrams, you are playing in their sandpit. So it's worth noting that over the last 5 years or so, the reach of a lot of Facebook advertising is minimised, so it's getting dearer and dearer to reach the same amount of people. And obviously you can get smarter and reduce it, but the general trend is it's getting dearer and dearer. And the risk to think about around that is that if your customers are all in Facebook and you don't actually have a database outside of that, you're going to be in the position where it's going to cost you more and more to get messaging to them and to reach them. And so I'm really passionate about having a strong database. A marketing mix for some company may mean that you use an email channel to stay in touch and keep people informed. It may also tie into your Facebook and other work, and then you may also choose to use that database to do some smart stuff in the back end of your website, so you can track what people are doing. So social media certainly has its place. It's not going to go away. It is something to apply a bit of smarts to around how you use it and you actually not only measure it and get some benefit for the business, but also contribute to building a database and their deeper engagement with clients across multiple channels. That can be a big challenge, especially when you're starting out, is understanding what has a cost and what has a value, because both can lead to money leaving your bank account, which is something that's really precious early on in your business life. So some of it comes down to that return on investment, and every industry will be a little bit different. And sometimes getting that really good advice early on can really help make that a lot easier, so you're not wasting that money, because early on money, I appreciate money can be really precious. But it's also sometimes thinking around who can help you. So if you're looking to sell playground equipment and you really know that it's grandparents and parents sort of 50 plus that are likely to buy it, that own their own home, then you can really narrow down. You've already narrowed down who your likely target market is, but you can also think about who else sells to them that you could work with. And so those partnerships can be really handy, and maybe it may mean that you take a slightly lower margin, but you've got a good partnership with someone else where you're not competing, where you might be able to have access to the database and do some cross promotion, or they might clip the ticket and on-sell your product, can really give you a lot of value without upfront cost necessarily. So that marketing plan, you want that to be a live document. You don't want dust to settle on it. You want it to be something that you refer back to, but you also measure again, so you actually looking at what your results are, what do you need to reinforce and do more of? What do you need to maybe cease or withdraw from? And that's why it is something you do want to check in regularly, and that might be one of your goals as you do actually check your marketing plan every month versus what you've done and how that's worked, and have a review. It's something that I guess in today's world, data is a lot more easier to collect around that. On digital platforms, really easy. You can do some split A/B testing, a lot of different techniques you can do to understand what's going to drive some sales growth and possibly revenue growth as well. And it's also been done for a long time in the bricks and mortar retailers. If you look at in New Zealand, the supermarkets, large hardware stores, etc., they invest millions in really understanding the fine nuances in their businesses. So if we use the supermarket as an example, everything right down to the store layout, how you walk around the store, the shelf positioning, and where the impulse purchases are placed, what the store looks, feels, smells like, is all part of that science, and it's all around driving those sales. So for a different scale business, a smaller business, it might look at quite different, but there is certainly a science, and it should be something you're quite aware of. You can't manage what you don't measure, so finding ways to capture your sales and where they're coming from is really key to knowing what's worth spending more money on and reinforcing doing more of, or what you really need to review, cease or amend to gather effectiveness or to gain effectiveness. So really understanding where your clients are coming from, whether it's digital, whether in the professional services space, whether it's walk-in retail, there are definitely tools for all of them to find out where your clients are coming from and linking it back to what's working in your marketing. So definitely where you can measure it, find out where they came from, find out why they're coming to you, so you can make the most of the opportunity. Build a team around you that can really help you, and come back to understanding what you're really good at and where you can really drive the business and create a lot of value, versus what you may be a bit weaker and don't have experience or just don't like doing, and filling those gaps. That can be a really key driver to really getting up and running quickly, because you don't want to be looking back in 2 years' time and still stumbling along. So putting that great team around you, and giving them the authority to really excel in those areas where you don't. That's perfect. And I guess I'd also say, don't be too proud to ask for help. There's a heap of people out there, and I generally find humans by nature, we want to help each other do better, but if you don't ask it, it's quite likely you won't get, because don't be afraid to ask for help. Find good people, and great to have friends around you and take them on the journey. I guess sometimes some friends will tell you what you want to hear, which is really great, but then you'll probably have some which will tell you what you need to hear, and that might be even better in some cases. And I'd also say, have a plan. There is that saying, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And there's some truth in that, and having a plan that you go back to, when you're making key decisions, because you would have set out in business for a reason. You'll have a really great idea, or you'll see this gap in the market that's just begging for someone to jump in and make the most of, and you've got into it for that reason. So keep that as your anchor and where you need to refer back to, because there can be the temptation, particularly if you had a lean month or something's gone a little bit wrong, to take the next easy opportunity or completely reinvent your business, and you end up losing traction, and it's really easy to go around in a circle chasing the next quick buck, and you never end up in the end location that you started off for, in the success that was possible. So in a little bit, having that plan to go back to, and using that as your anchor for business decisions can be really useful to make sure you do actually get on, or you do head towards your end goal, which you originally set up, is why you set up in business.